Rastafari, ever faithful, ever sure. Yeah, man, moving out of Babylon. Can't move backwards, have to move forwards. You know, this your time, times I get dread. Yeah, man, Rastafari, ever living God. Selassie I the first. Moving out of Babylon. Moving on to Zion.
Welcome to Desultory Philosophy. I'm here with LionArt. He's a stalwart of the reggae scene in Birmingham, someone who you're likely to see in and about the scene. And we're here to talk about Rastafari, so I'll fire straight in there, Lion, with the question, what is Rastafari?
Okay, yeah. Wow. Brilliant question. Always love to answer this one. Rastafari is a movement of people. It's also a way of life. Now, Rastafari was also a person. That's the most important thing. We're dealing with a king from Africa. So, you know, you've heard of Haile Selassie?
Yeah, yeah.
His name was Rastafari before he was crowned king. So, Haile Selassie means the power of the Holy Trinity. And Rastafari was one of his names. So the Rastafari community of people follow this king, this man called Rastafari. So that's the most important thing for people to know and understand, is that Rastafari is not just a name. Some people abbreviate it and shorten it to Rasta, but really it's not Rasta, it's Ras. Then Tafari, you know. Okay. So Rasta is just like a slang term that's developed over time, just through people hearing, and it rolls off the tongue, kind of easy. So people say Rasta, but really it's Ras, Tafari, and Ras means head, and Tafari means to be feared or to be reverent, to someone to be respected, you know, because he's the king. So yeah, Rastafari is a man, and to be Rastafari as a person, to follow that faith or that way of life, really and truly you have to know and the teachings of Rastafari, the man. Otherwise it wouldn't make sense for to call yourself Rastafari, because Rastafari is the name of that man. And that man had a way of life and he had teachings. So to be Rastafari, you have to kind of look into them, and if you agree with them fully, then you can call yourself Rastafari. If you don't agree with them, then you can't really call yourself Rastafari.
Yeah.
yeah.
So what kind of stuff did Haile Selassie kind of talk about then? What what kind of stuff?
Equal rights and justice and peace for all mankind.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was trying to unite the world, unite Africa, unite everybody, no matter what colour skin. You know, he did a famous speech, United Nations. Yeah. And yeah, he was just out for everybody. He was such a good person. He went to all the hospitals, he helped the sick and helped the homeless. He gave them lots of money, and people relied on him in his country, you know, to help him. And he helped people. There was a lot of propaganda spread against him, saying that he did the opposite because he was such a good person. Anybody that knew him knew that Haile Selassie was a great man. He was kind-hearted. He was one of these kind of people that, you know, that he wouldn't do anything bad to people. You know, when you know somebody's good, you're like one of your family or something like this, you know, they're a good person. And then somebody else says, oh, he's just killed and sponsored killing and stole loads of money. Yeah. You know, that doesn't fit their character.
That don't fit, yeah.
You know, that's the situation we're dealing with, you know what I mean? So there was people that spread propaganda against Haile Selassie to slander him and make him be known as a dictator and an evil person. And even the BBC joined in with this, and they took pictures of Haile Selassie in the palace with the gold and all the fancy cutlery and eating meals, and then they put pictures of people starving in Ethiopia next to it to make out that he wasn't helping them. But really what happened at the time with that was the government wanted to take over the monarchy, and they purposely cut off the food supply to a part of Ethiopia and didn't tell the king, you know, kept it quiet so he couldn't help them, and then took photographs and reported it as if it was him that did it. So, you know, there was a lot of propaganda to get rid of Haile Selassie in the last days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah.
I mean, I've heard, I listened to one of his speeches, and it really just struck me that from a Christian point of view, actually, he's a man who seemed to have lived the Gospels, you know what I mean? He was like you say,
that's right.
You could just tell he's a man that ain't just like quoting Bible scripture. He's there saying, no, this is what we need to do.
This is what we need to do. That's right, he's living it. And when the Italians, perfect example, the Italians invaded Ethiopia, killed thousands and thousands of people with like mustard gas and bullets and bombs. And then years after the war had finished, Haile Selassie said to the people, listen, with the Italians, don't pay them back for what they did. Don't be nasty to them. Show them love and respect and forgiveness. And now in Ethiopia, there's a lot of white Italians that live there. Yeah, I met some when I went to Ethiopia myself, you know. So it's, you know, the story of Haile Selassie, don't forget, was the head of the church in Ethiopia. The Christian church. He was the head. Yeah. Yeah, the leader of the Tewahedo church.
Tewahedo?
Yeah. It's
like Coptic almost?
No, it's its own thing. It's if you check it out, Tewahedo, I think it means one. It means one. Now, Haile Selassie was the head of that. It's one of the most ancient. It goes back to David, Solomon. Yeah. You know, that original line. And that's why Rastafari follow Haile Selassie, because he's related to God's line in the Bible. That biblical story is because don't forget, because Haile Selassie is the head of the church. Haile Selassie taught to follow Christ and read the Bible. Haile Selassie taught that no matter what version of the Bible, the message remains the same. That's what Haile Selassie. That's why we deal with the teachings of Selassie as Rasta people. We read the Bible, and no matter what the version, we still get the same message. There's little bits that have been changed here and there, but the main things we get from there, how to forgive and love and how to be saved by Christ, you know, the Son, about the Trinity, the Father, the Holy Spirit, you know. We learn all these things. Yeah.
So how was it that it was appropriated by Jamaicans? So you got Ethiopia, Jamaica. How is it that that it was a group of Jamaican people that found a king in Ethiopia?
Well, they was the most oppressed people, you see. These were the people that were taken away. It's prophesied in the Bible. Some of God's people rebelled, so therefore God withdrew his protection from them. It said they will go into captivity. They will be taken away as slaves for many years. But God doesn't forget his people. He always redeems them in the end. He forgives them. He just let them go through some trials and tribulation. And these people got taken away to the Caribbean, and they got treated the worst of any people on the planet, worse than you could imagine, you know, slavery, of course. So these people came out strong, and they needed a saviour more than anybody, because they was oppressed for so long, you know. And they were part of this black lineage which goes back to Christ, because we're all human, you know. No matter what colour, we are all equal, you know. And I believe, white people come from black people. You know, black people was the original race.
Yeah, and it's provable.
And white people have lost their melanin in the skin, and that's all it is. So everybody's an African, really. You know, the colour of the skin is irrelevant, you know. People move around and lose pigmentation and stuff like that, you know. Okay. So,
and I think if you ask the average person on the street, what do they know about Rastafarians? They'll probably talk about, you know, ganja or herb smoking. So how does that fit into?
Well, it's the healing of the nation. It's in the Bible. It tells you. Yeah. The healing, the leaves. Yeah. The leaf will be for the healing of the nation. Yeah, the leaf. So the leaf is like a hand. And what drug out there, what plant has the leaf? It's the cannabis plant. Marijuana. has so many names. It's been propaganded against so much because it's a holy herb. It's a sacred herb. That's how we see it. A sacrament. It brings us closer to God if you choose to think in that way. And when you use it and you pray and meditate and give thanks and let the smoke go up and say, Rastafari, and, you know, and get away evil spirits and, you know, this, because they're around, you know, so this is the reality of life. We have to live in this way. So it's like an incense. I've used it before, you know, to get rid of spirits, people's houses, you know, poltergeists and these kind of things. They could be gone straight away, no problem. Yeah, they can't take it. Yeah, especially some good music as well, some heavy bass, you know. They won't. But no, the herb is a sacrament, yeah, and it's a healing. It's so many things. It's ridiculous. It's number one plant for humans because it's linked to the human body. We have the endocannabinoid system inside the body, which is linked to cannabis. So we all need to be taking small amounts of cannabis every single day for us to not get cancer and all these diseases that people get. If they wouldn't get them if they had small amounts of cannabis within the bloodstream. It's proven, science has proved this now. Yeah. So cannabis is the number one medicine for a start. It's a food, it's a supplement. It's not, you take it, you don't get high. That's what I'm talking about. You're talking small doses, you don't get high. You don't even feel it, you just feel nice, no pains, and you feel good about yourself. And no depression, none of that's gone, all that's gone, and all these kind of mental. Don't get me wrong, some people, if they take too much cannabis and smoke it, it can cause psychosis. But small doses in food and that wouldn't do that. It would just help, you know, the right dosage. But, you know, yeah, cannabis can be used for buildings, for making houses that eat CO2. You can make hemp bricks. You know, I designed a hemp brick a few years ago because I did an apprenticeship as a stonemason. I learned how to build, and then I wanted to make houses out of cannabis. So I bought some hemp off the internet, big sacks of it. Yeah, like big straw bales of hemp. And then I researched. The internet's an amazing thing. If you use it correctly, you can do anything you want. I looked on the internet how to make a composite for building, and I researched different methods, and I chose mix-match some, what I thought would suit the hemp qualities, and I made myself a brick. Patented everything. I've got it still there. It's great. It works. It's solid. It's hard. It's thermal qualities, second to none. You know. You can make cars out of hemp, out of cannabis. Henry Ford made the first car out of weed, you know, and fueled it on cannabis fuel. The seed makes the oil. You can make fuel from it. You can eat the oil. It's got omega-369. You know, cannabis is a plant where you wouldn't believe some of the things that I told you about. It can take radioactivity out of the earth. In Chernobyl, they plant cannabis there because it takes it out of the earth. Cannabis can be used for paper, of course, clothes, you know. You think about it, there's a problem with deforestation. There's a problem with the cotton industry. You know, it's all destroying the earth. It's done for a reason. There's people that run the planet that are making money but also destroying the earth at the same time. You know, instead of using hemp, the number one plant. Because Rastafari is just a search for the truth at the end of the day. That's all we're dealing with. It's not a religion as such. We don't see it as a religion. Even Haile Selassie, the teachings of Selassie, talks about not dealing with religion and dealing with spirituality is a different thing. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I remember when I saw that speech or listened to that speech, that jumped out at me. I follow a kind of spiritual way of life myself, and that really stood out to me. In fact, in the books that I read, there's a clear distinction between spirituality and religion. Religion is good for law and order.
That's right.
But spirituality is good for the for the person.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's real. It's more real, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, religions are more like a set of rules for people to follow and keep, like you say, keep people in order, you know. Yeah. But as Rastafari, we believe that God has rules, and the earth is made. There's laws of science, and there is certain laws that we have to follow, you know. So.
Who are the icons of Rastafari in the kind of in the modern era today? I mean, there's obvious ones I know. But,
obviously, like Bob Marley and you know, Peter Tosh and Dennis Brown and you know, the reggae going into the music.
Yeah.
But you've got, you know, Marcus Garvey prophesied the Black King to the people before Haile Selassie became king. Yeah. You know, there's I'm not sure, you know, for Rastafari, the main thing is Haile Selassie. For me, is the power of the Trinity. So Yehoshua or Yeshua the Son, who we believe as Rastafari is more. Haile Selassie is more the father figure, and Yehoshua is the son. So this is the Trinity, and then you have the Holy Spirit, which is the Spirit. So you have these personages. Yehoshua, which means will save the people. You know, his name actually means will save you. You know, Jah will save you. Yah, and Yehoshua or Yeshua. So he come to save the people. So we, as Rastafari, and as Haile Selassie taught, you have to be saved through Yeshua, or as they call him, Jesus Christ. But many Rasta, we don't like the name Jesus Christ, because that was the name that they used to slave black people for many years, and there was never a person called Jesus Christ. He was Yeshua or Yehoshua, the Messiah, you know. So that's why Rasta people don't really like and the Jesus thing's a bit, you know, contentious with Rasta people. So, but you know, for me, I believe that the real Jesus had the dreadlocks. The real Jesus was a black man, so the real Jesus would have looked a bit like we anyway. You know what I mean? Because the Nazarenes and the Nazarites, them, you know, they used to cut or comb their hair. Jesus was born in Nazareth. You know what I mean? And there was black people there at that time. There wasn't really lighter people as much. People that move around, you know. So more time it would have been a black dreadlock man, the Jesus. But obviously they couldn't have that. They painted the whitewash for the world because of they needed to control with slavery and slave black people. So they couldn't be having a black Jesus because they used Christianity. So they had to change. Before that, you know, really and truly.
I had a friend who pointed something out to me the other day. When you look at like the Sphinx or Egyptian statues, and they've always got the nose knocked off.
All right, thank you,
and
sir.
I always just thought, oh, that's just because it weathered over time. And he was like,
you would.
Nah,
no, it wasn't. It's done on purpose. Napoleon and the soldiers, they went over there, and because they saw the ancient. They was like, you know what, these guys were so clever, and they did, but they were black people, and obviously, you know, they didn't. So off with the noses, you know, because it wasn't fitting at the time. You know, it's so true. And when you see on the TV, you look at any ancient, you see all the noses
always
are gone.
the nose,
so you can't quite make out what race were these people, you know. Well, everyone's a human race, but what, you know, what kind of type of colour of skin? But that's the reason, because. Slavery,
Okay, so the next question is, I don't know if this is as relevant today, but if I listen to kind of steel pulse or reggae from Birmingham in the 70s, you'll really get a kind of atmosphere of tension and like the police kind of profiling going on big time, and I don't know whether or not that's still the case for Rastafarians today. Do you still feel like that there's kind of police brutality and police pay too much interest to the Rasta man? To the
Rasta man, well, it depends where you are, I suppose, you know. It depends where you are. In Birmingham right now, it's not as bad as it used to be. When I was growing up, I used to get harassed a lot by the police, a lot, as a natty dread, you know. Still to this day, you could get problems because you stand out, basically, you know, and you are looking like a stereotypical, in their mind, something, you're up to something wrong, you know, because as a Rasta man, you're always breaking the law in this country anyway. You're a lawbreaker from the herb is illegal, you know. So if you lived in Holland, it'd be a different thing, because obviously it's legal there, or America where it's legal, certain places is more relaxed, and certain police, they're not foolish, they're not certain Rasta man, they just smoke the herb and they're peaceful people, just leave them alone, you know. The racism that used to be in this country, in this country, full stop, was quite bad. As growing up as a youth, coming out of Birmingham, going to outer areas outside Birmingham, the country was very racist towards black people. You couldn't walk down the street without being called, "Hey, you nigger, get back home," and all this kind of talk. So the whole country was racist, and that we're going back 25 years ago. That's what that was happening when I was growing up. It's 30 years ago, when I was growing up. So the police were even more racist then. Now we've got normal people that grew up as not being racist in the police, because they're younger police, so they're not as racist. But still, the police force obviously recruits racist type people, and they always kick out all the black and Asians try and get into the police. I know people that have tried to join the police recently, that people that I know, and they've been on the course, and the big white people that are running the course always kick off all the black and Asian students, still to this day, you know, and only let like 1 or 2% through, just to make the figures up. And they let through all these, like, a lot of people that go to join the police, they're probably like being bullied or something at school, to be fair, you know what I mean? Or they just want to, some good people that want to help society, and which is nothing wrong with the police, because there's bad people out there, do you know what I mean? But there's some people that go into the police for wrong reasons, obviously, and they always have done from back a day, and it was worse back a day because there was more racist people around to go into the police to be a racist. Nowadays, they go into the police more for power and things, so it don't matter what you are, where you're from, you know what I mean? And to be fair, since 9/11, the police are after Muslim people.
Shifted the focus.
Yeah, not black people no more, you know what I mean? Well, black people, yeah, because most of the terrorists are black, if you notice. Yeah, so you're not out the site yet.
It's true, isn't it? Yeah, the converts.
You know what I mean? They're all caught, if you notice. Yeah. So,
I think growing up in Birmingham, in South Birmingham, around Borsalleaf, Moseley, kind of where I grew up. And I'm sure it's more so the case in places like Handsworth.
Yeah.
The Rastas in that social setting, for me, were some of the most conscious people that I met. Some of the people that would actually, when they spoke to you, it was a gift, and you'd take that away.
That's what drew me to Rastafari to start with.
Yeah.
When I'm around Rasta people as a youth growing up. Yeah. Because my brother was Rasta and certain people he knew was Rasta, and I got to meet these people now. When we listen to them talk differently to most people. They're making sense, and they're coming with an energy and a vibe that seem more right, let's say, you know, than that you'd seen before. So, and what they were saying, the stuff that they were talking about was real, and it was interesting. You know what I mean? So that's what first drew me towards Rastafari. And then obviously later on I start to look at what Rastafari is, which is obviously what I've told you, the man, Haile Selassie. Then when you start to look into the teachings of him, you get drawn to the Bible. And then from there you get spirituality, you know. And you get certain powers where you can, you know, shift evil if you need to. Because evil comes around to attack certain times, you know. And sometimes you need to know certain prayers and words to get rid of evil spirits, you know.
Okay. Is that something that you kind of you feel like you have you got a sense for that kind of thing then?
Well, yeah, totally. I've had an experience with poltergeists, and I've had to use the name of Jah, Yehoshua, the Holy Spirit, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. These names and prayer and cast away these demons. I've seen the demons in the room at a friend's house. Shadow demons, big square demon people, you know. And well, one of them was in the kitchen messing with cutlery, shaking knives and stuff. And I've seen it. I went in there, I seen it in the kitchen, and it started to flicker. It come past me and everything went cold. Yeah, as it passed me, big shadow demon, massive, freezing cold, like ice. And then, as I start chanting the prayers to get rid of this demon, the lights start to flicker, like dimmer switch in all the lights in the house for about 30 seconds. Then the lights come on and all the fridge comes back, everything calm and peaceful. You can feel the energy. The energy's gone. My mate's crapping himself in the front room. But as soon as the lights come, I thought, look, everything's all right now. And you could see that it was calm. You could feel the energy. He was calm and it had gone. And he'd never had any problems after that. You know, but he was being attacked by this poltergeist all the time in his house. Well, not attacked, but it was stamping when he's downstairs in his bedroom, frightening him to death. You know, there's a saying, "Duppy know who for frighten." Yeah. Wow. Certain time, Duppy will come to you. If they know you don't know Wagwan, or even if you know Wagwan, because Duppy's come to me before, try things with me, but I just run them off with the names, you know what I mean? But if you don't know, it could get on top of your head, you know what I mean? Could really send you in a dark place if you're being attacked by these things. And a lot of people get attacked by them. It sends them mad. They don't know what's going on.
I can believe it. My experience was that the prayer was what sorted me out when doctors had tried. I tried myself, you name every single, go and live in this country, try and get away from demons or what you might call duppy, whatever, you know.
That's it.
And actually, I had to fall onto my knees and pray.
There you go.
I had to go through so much that there was nothing left to do.
Nothing left to do,
and
that's it.
And then that has been what has changed my life. So when people talk about, you know, prayer or incantation being a solution, I know
don't
that's
forget,
true.
Yeah, you're right, man. And don't forget, everything was created through word. Yeah, so the power of word is the most powerful thing.
The logos.
That's right, yeah. So with the artists, with the singing, that's why it's such a powerful thing, because we can talk to people and educate people, tell people what's going on. There's lots of artists out there sponsored by Freemasonry, Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, and they're sponsored to brainwash the people with their agenda, what they want people to think about all the time. And, you know...
Through the word,
Through the word, that's it, it's powerful.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear that, to hear that said, because, it's... If you follow any kind of religious tradition or any tradition, it starts with the word, doesn't it?
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
right.
It's got to be the most powerful. Most powerful.
Well, in the Bible it says, you know, God spoke everything into creation.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He said, let there be light, let there be this, let there be that. You know, so...
That's right, he didn't just create it, he said...
He spoke, specifically.
Spoke it.
And then don't forget Yehoshua or Christ Jesus, Yeshua. He is the word.
Yeah.
So it was created through his word.
Yeah.
Yehoshua, you know.
The truth and the light and the way.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So what is the connection between Rastafari and music? I know you've gone into that a little bit, but it seems to be hugely important in the movement,
Yeah, I mean, for a start, Nyabingi, Rastafari is a movement of Rastafari where they deal with peace, love and unity no matter what colour, skin, race, you know, fire to white and black oppressors. You know, that's the vibe from Nyabingi. And it's about the heartbeat. So that music, all music really starts with the heartbeat, which is the rhythm of life. It's the chest in the heart, the heart in the chest. So, and that's that drum beat. Boom, 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 taka, boom, 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 taka, taka. You know, so music is really coming from that vibe there. And in Africa, the drum is the number one thing, it's the main thing out there still to this day for villages all over. I went to Africa, I went to Ethiopia, and when I was out there, I was amazed. One night I spent in a barn, the hotels were full. I had nowhere to sleep, and the hotel owner says, oh, you can sleep in this barn, stable kind of place that you've got. I was like, okay, I'll give that a go. And I slept on these tables. I was a bit wary for creatures, and you know what I mean, because it wasn't like, you know, your fittings and that in there. It was a barn. But as I laid down to sleep that night, I heard drums from all angles, from all kinds of distances, tribes. I could hear them singing, shouting, dancing, beating drums. And it was like a rave, to be fair. It sounded like rave music all night. You know what I mean? They was up partying, man, I tell you. And it was a beautiful vibe, beautiful experience. So music comes from Africa. We all come from Africa, I believe. So that vibe is just an expression of that ancient history. But for Rastafari, music is a thing where mainly should be to praise the king and to praise God. And, you know, Lucifer, the head of the angels, he was in charge of music before he fell away and became Satan, or the devil, became evil. He was in charge of music, of praising to God. You know, that's what one of the first music was created for, was for to praise God. So that's what we try to do with our music as well. It's used for education, because the power of the word. It's used for praying. It's used to, you know, yeah, for all these kind of things, basically. Yeah, it's a powerful aspect of Rastafari, because it gets to everybody. You know, Bob Marley. Come on, Rastafari is Bob Marley. Bob Marley is Rastafari, as in, he was speaking about Haile Selassie. You know, this is a real Rasta person, as we say, Rasta, or a real Rastafari youth, because he was picture of Haile Selassie, the band talking about Haile Selassie and other things, and you know, I used to read the Bible, the newspapers, and try and relate to people where we are in the time, because the Bible is just like a timeline, really, of what's going to happen and what people need to know to do in the future, where to go. Certain Bob Marley tunes, Zion Train's coming our way, you know, Iron Lion Zion, talking about going to Zion, which is spoken, it's all in the Bible, Zion, you know, it's Zion Hill, you know, and that's another thing, because Ethiopia is a place that has received a special gift from Israel. Now, Israel actually moved to Ethiopia with the
Ark of the Covenant.
With the Ark of the Covenant, yeah, and David II. Yeah, so what happened was King Solomon had a son with Queen of Sheba. King Solomon was a bit of a dubious character in the end, though. He was sinning and he was doing all kinds of magic, and he went away from our God and started to worship different gods because all the women that he had, and he's doing all kinds of magic and stuff. He's the leader of the Freemasons, basically, Solomon. You know, the Illuminati that run the planet now. He's their leader. They rate Solomon big time. But for us, Solomon lost his... He was great at one time, Solomon. He was God's person, but he's an example that you can go bad. Solomon is one of these examples. So he lost his way, and God wouldn't let the Ark of the Covenant stay with him anymore, because the Ark of the Covenant is a resting place for the Holy Spirit on earth. Between the angels, it has the 10 Commandments in the box, the rod of Aaron and a bowl of manna. But it's a resting place for the Holy Spirit on earth, so you can't even look at it. If you look at it, it can kill you. Yeah. That's why it's always covered. In Ethiopia, every church has got one covered.
Yeah, and they've got those monks. They're the only people that can go anywhere near
it. That's it. There's
something going on there.
Yeah, that's right. So these kind of relics, they prove the Bible to be true, you know, these kind of relics. So it's a very important biblical relic. Everybody claims to have it. Yeah. You know, there's one in Israel. But to be fair, certain people, the story of the Kebra in the Gast, is a great book for Rasta people to read, because it explains the journey, and what happened. That's the story. That's how we rate Haile Selassie, because Haile Selassie is linked to Christ through that bloodline and that story. Some people say that story is not true. They say things against that story, but you know, there's a truth to be found. You got to find it for yourself. So we obviously Rasta people believe, because that's the whole thing about Haile Selassie and his divinity, goes back to that story being true, that he's the keeper of the Ark of the Covenant. And if you're the keeper of the Ark of the Covenant, that means you're a very special person. So that your bloodline is due to receive the Messiah. So when you check it out, if you know what you're talking about, you know that his family is due to receive. If it wasn't Haile Selassie, it was someone else, or before or after. It can only be that family. It tells you in the Bible that's going to receive the Messiah that's coming. You know, it's that family bloodline. But you know, all the prophecies came true with Haile Selassie. He fulfilled them all. When you look into it, you know, he's the one with the triple crown. You know, crowned 3 times. So yeah, he's yeah.
So when because a lot of my reference is from reggae music, and having grown up in you know, we're blessed, aren't we, in Birmingham? Incredibly blessed.
We've got a few bands come from carry on, sorry.
What you hear a lot is Babylon. So this idea of a kind of system that is so is that, are we talking Illuminati there? Are we talking
but it's devilism, it's Satan, basically. Simple terms. Children should be able to understand this. Good against evil. It's just bad people following bad ways, whether they knowingly and unknowingly, because bad ways are sometimes, it's called a thing, deception and lies. So it pretends to be good. So some people think it's good and they still follow it, where some people know it's not good and they still follow it. So it's got lots of aspects, you know, badness. Do you know what I mean? It pretends to be good, and that's the thing. That's what people don't expect. They don't expect the big deception. They just expect things. They just, it's just things. It's either that way or that way. They don't think that there's things out there to deceive them. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a bit like that. I mean, Babylon is like the West, and Zion is the end place where all of the good people will go for protection, you know. So Babylon's a place where is made of like cities where people are like slaves to work for systems that are unfair and that like kill people at the end of the day, and that are trying to kill people with like GM crops and like just bad ways of living. Do you know what I mean? Trying to kill the human race, designed like that on purpose by higher forces, and that's Babylon. That's like paedophile rings that are in with the police and the Queen and Gary Glitzer and all these guys, Jimmy Savile. This is Babylon. It's designed on purpose. It's done, you know, Freemasonry. Runs, you know, London, the city of London. I don't know if you've heard of the 3-state thing. It's the city of London, Columbia, the Vatican and Colombia. They got the same flag. So their own state, and you know, they're mixed up with darkness, basically. It goes back a long way, and you know, it's Masonic, and you know, it's all signs and symbols and rituals and sacrifices, dark stuff. It goes on. It's reality. They've tried to hide it for many years, but with the internet, the truth's out there. But the problem is, some people don't know the truth when it hits them in the face. That's the problem with today. So, and they know that. That's why they don't really care what's out there on the internet, because they know even if people see the truth, they don't get it. If people see something real in front of their eyes, they won't believe it. That's what time we live in.
Hidden in plain sight.
Yeah, it's in plain sight, and you still don't get it. You can't work it out. Do you know what I mean? If you've seen a UFO outside today, most people would just think nothing. I think they were seeing. They wouldn't even see it. It's just right there in front of them. Chemtrails, lines in the sky. People don't see it. People are blind. I don't know what's wrong with them. You know what I mean? It's like obvious that something's going on. If you just look up and see, you know, things have changed from when I was a kid. Like, I never used to see crosses in the sky and patterns like that.
So what are they then? What is it? What's the substance?
It's part of Babylon. It's their machine. Like Babylon is a creator of new inventions, but they don't remember Jah in their creation. See, this is in the music. You get me? They don't remember Jah in their invention. So if you don't remember Jah or the creator or love, because Jah is love in your creation, yeah, you got a big problem. You're creating something that's going to end up destroying people and killing people and messing. But they don't care because it's about money. But what is money? Money is created for the cities, Babylon. Yeah, they say that the earth's overpopulated. It's a lie. Yeah, the earth's big enough to fit. You're going in a plane and you're flying over land for ages with no one there. The earth's not overpopulated. The cities are overpopulated that they cram people into to slave them. So you're going to work to pay taxes for this and that. And you can't just grow a piece of land and grow your food and trade it with you like you should be as being a free human. And everybody's got a piece of land. But one man owns all that land and they're putting you in the city as a slave. You're born into it. You don't even realise. You just think it's normal. Everyone's slaving away in the job. Don't get me wrong, some of the jobs are great jobs and they're helping people. I do one of them jobs. I work with kids with autism and that. Well, I've always chose to do jobs like that though, because I don't want to be working for the system and making money for people in the system. And just because that's what it's all about, money, innit? So if I'm stuck here though, I'm in a prison. I'm born here, just like you and everybody else. We can't choose where we're born or what colour we are, whatever. We're just born, innit? So you have to make sense of your reality. And that's the only sense I can make of this reality when I see the truth. Because now we've got the internet, so you can find the truth, what's really going on, and what's really important. And when you look at what's really important, like these paedophile rings that are going on, that are protected by the police and all that, and when you start realising that kind of evils, what other evils are going on? Do you know what I mean? Come on, it doesn't get much worse than that, does it?
Not in Ireland,
do you know what I'm saying? It don't get any worse than that. So, but it does. It goes further. It goes into everything. It goes, they're keeping people down. It's the whole system is a fraud. At the end of the day, do you know what I mean? It's built on money and what is money at the end of the day, and keeping people in this cycle when really the earth's a big place. And you should be free for you to go anywhere. Well, who says you can't go here and there? Who made a country and a line and this and that and says you can't step in this place and be free? And why is that country better than that one anyway? Because it's got all the money. Why has it got all the money? Because of slavery. And do you know what I mean? It's like, you start to look and you're like, oh my, it gets worse. You start to think about it. So that's what Babylon is. Babylon is what went wrong. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's Babylon. It's living in a system that's wrong, that's messed up, and that's gonna get worse. And that's doomed for fire, because Rasta believed that the earth was flooded at one stage because God was angry and he wanted to get rid of certain things like giants that were roaming the earth, that were eating humans and stuff, because they came from Lucifer, who rebelled. Because we've all got free will, we can do what we want. Lucifer chose to go off and be like God. He started to make aliens and make all these beings and stuff. And on the earth, giants were born, and after a while, God destroyed it all with a flood. And we come back but it's building back up again. There's people are making genetic things, and it's, you know what I mean? But God warned with the rainbow. He says, this time's a flood. Next time it'll be fire next time. That's why Rasta people is saying about the fire, Kay puts in the fire, man. And they're always on about the fire. That's what they're talking about. It's a warning about Babylon going to get burned this time, not water. Yeah. You know what I mean? For all the corruptness and the wrongness that's going on. When God intervenes this time, God doesn't intervene much. He just lets things run and for thousands, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then all of a sudden, bam, that's it. It's time.
So what's the you've kind of answered that by saying the solution is fire, actually, and that's
that's right.
Is that the fire inside us as much as it is the fire in the real world? So what can these teach the people who are listening to this and maybe they can't become a Rasta for whatever reason, or they're just, you know, it's not, they're not living in a place where they could be around other people like that.
Yeah,
what could they
from you
learn?
hear this message, anybody could be Rasta, because it don't matter where you're from. To be Rasta is just to look into who Haile Selassie is and to understand and believe and realise that he is the link to the Bible, and he's that ancient of days. He's the second coming of Christ, the Messiah figure, and the Father figure. And once you come to that conclusion, now that's for us. That's just a reality, because he fits that storyline. Once you realise that truth, that's just a truth, and we accept that truth and decide to acknowledge it and tell other people about it, and that's the ultimate truth in life. That's what's going on. It's happening. It's not like an old religious story. It's happening now. You know, Haile Selassie, is he dead? Is he not? We don't think he is. No, because he's been buried about 7 times by the governments. They keep on saying he's dead. He vanished. The official story was that he was killed. Mengistu killed him, smothered him with a pillow and all this, buried his bones under a toilet, buried his body under a toilet. That was found out later not to be true. They found some bones, but there wasn't Haile Selassie's bones of a tall man and this and that. And then Mengistu on his deathbed, or recently, he's just confessed that he never killed Haile Selassie. So the other story was that Haile Selassie was praying inside his prison cell and he disappeared. And, you know, it said about the power of word, the prayer. Yeah, well, you remember Jesus Christ, remember what he could do? Miracles, walk on water, walk through walls, he could do anything. Yeah, well, remember what it says about Haile Selassie being the second coming. Yeah, so if he's in a prison cell, it's not a problem. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, that's not a... Come on, man. You know what I mean? So he went missing from the prison cell. They killed the guards for it, because they thought the guards let him out. Poor guys, they didn't let him out. You know what I mean? He just got walked out through the wall. You know? So Haile Selassie he hasn't fulfilled his final chapter yet as man on the earth. So he's still there waiting to do that. But, you know, they're trying to hunt him, they want to kill him, and, you know, there's agents out there and this and that, you know, that's why but they can't, because he's the lion, the conquering lion. Jesus, Yehoshua was slain as the lamb. He came to die on the cross at a certain point. They tried to kill him before that, you know, before they put him on the cross, tried to get him, but he slipped away and everything. Rick tells you in the Bible, he disappeared and all this, do you know what I mean? But at the time because he actually came to die, that was one of his jobs to do. So at the time, when the time was right, he just let himself up to die on the cross for us. He did it. He went through that pain for everybody. You know what I mean? Sacrifice, it's called. And that's what we do for our children and stuff like that. We sacrifice these. And that's an example how to live with sacrifice. You know, obviously taught forgiveness and all types of different love. But, yeah, it's a dread thing. It's a dread thing. When you start to look into it, that is... But I lost my trail of thought. Sorry,
it's all right. Yeah. No, it's listening to you. It's like all these ideas of kind of these are kind of like morals and virtues and whether or not you believe the real world stuff. These are all allegories and tales that teach us something really, really important.
That's it.
So it's like to have a kind of a Rasta man in a community would seem to be a really good thing, you know.
Well, Rasta comes with knowledge and truths that people, you know, and he can tell people part of what he knows and what he's learned. Because don't forget, as Rasta people, we get taught by the Holy Spirit, you know, the Spirit of God. So Spirit of God comes on people. Some Rasta, they don't even get past certain stage. I was talking to you downstairs about it earlier. We were saying that, you know, some people will get the calling to be Rasta and they just end up with dreadlocks and a bit of red, gold and green. That's as far as it goes. They might smoke a bit of marijuana, you know what I mean? But they don't even look into they don't understand about the teachings of Rastafari, and that Rastafari was like the head of the church, the Tawhido church, and what that means to be Rasta, that you know what I mean, and call yourself Rasta, but you know what I mean. And some man they would be, you know, attacking the Bible and saying, oh, you can't you know what I mean, and saying it's no good and it's been changed. And Haile Selassie's teaching, no matter what version of the Bible, it's giving you the same message, and they're saying the opposite. But they're calling themselves Rasta. It doesn't make... Do you know what I mean? It don't make sense. When you really look into things... Anyone can say anything at the end of the day. But it's what makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
Truth seems to be really important. Like that word's come up a lot.
Yeah, man, well, that's reality. It's truth and reality. And there's a lot of deception out there, isn't there? So, you know, and there's a lot of people tripping on things, you know, wishing that there was this and that. But truth and reality for Rasta is the more, you know, we want to be real people and real to, and that's, you got to be real in every kind of aspects of life, you know. You know, that's like you say about community, and that's, you know, I've always worked as a youth worker in the community, or worked with homeless people on the streets, you know, or I've worked in a college with kids with autism, or schools with kids that are getting left behind in class and helping them move forward in you know, them kind of is what Rasta people is good at doing, helping people with, which is, you know, basic things, you know.
I think we live more and more in a world of deception on every level, and that's on a personal level as well. Like you say, people try and create versions of reality that suits them, and they get lost in this.
It's a shame. It's one of them. It's gonna happen, man. It's gonna happen. It's inevitable, isn't it? With you know, the amount of people on the planet.
You get crazy narratives going off, and then people try to create a, you know, you see it with the kind of narcissism of social media and stuff. It's all about creating an image of what you are, but you know, having no substance and no heart. No heart. That. And it seems to me that what Rastas have is heart, you know, in abundance.
Man. Well, that's why we call LionArt. Yeah. Because lion and art is a thing where, well, lion, I'm an artist for the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, you know, which is Haile Selassie. He's also known as the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah, you know. The light of the world. He's got many different titles, you know, and lion and the art is obviously, I'm an artist. I do pictures, paintings, I do all types of art, you know, musical art, this art, that art. So, and it's all to glorify God, you know. So that's why I call myself LionArt, you know. But at the same time, it's Lion Heart. Because we got that lion heart, you know what I mean? So it's multi-purpose, you know? And, you know, I'm an artist, I do music, I write my own guitar tunes. You can look on YouTube, LionArt Music, you know, the channel. I got some tracks with bands and stuff, and, you know, that's music's my thing. You know?
So the final question, Lion, then, is what can Rastafari offer the world? What is it, I know you spoke about... You know, perhaps there's some times coming where that's just gonna happen anyway.
Well, Rastafari offers the greatest gift to humankind. He offers a place of safety. For times of trouble that are coming to the whole world. For the last war, the big final battle of Armageddon, and you know, where the whole world's going to be under attack by the Antichrist. You know, which the great leader that comes to mark everybody with a mark, a number 666. You know, so the Rastafari offers that land of safety, that place, the red gold. That's what red, gold, and green's all about. It's all about the land of safety. You know, that place, and that's why it's so important for Rasta. It's a sign. It's a signal. It's a signal of the last days. It's a prophecy in the Bible that they will raise the flag in the last days as a signal, you know, and we believe this is the flag. It's the flag of Ethiopia, which is now Israel, because the Ark of the Covenant, once it moves to Ethiopia, it moves not just the Ark, but it moves the nation of Israel, to Ethiopia. So that's where Zion, or the New Jerusalem, is. It's a protected place, away from the fire. So when the fire comes, the judgment on the earth for the wickedness that's going to come, the even more wicked that's going on now. This time it's not going to be water. Like Noah built the ark before. This time there's no ark like that, but there's a place, there's a special place, and Rastafari offers that place to all humanity, you know. You know, like, most people don't believe it, they won't go, they won't, but, you know, they don't think, they think, but it'll be too late by the time the fire comes, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that place is protected, you know. Yeah. Obviously, there'll be a separation from the good and the bad, but, you know, at a certain time. But this is a place for a specific time in the timeline of history that we're about to go through, where the Antichrist comes, and as a man, and as me, LionArt, I would tell you straight that there's a politician out there that has all the attributes of the Antichrist right now. Today. All of them in the Bible. He's even got 666 in his name, you know, mystically in every type of way. And that's Barack Hussein Obama, you know. So he has all the signs for Antichrist. He talks about putting chips in people, Obamacare, and, you know, he's not president now, of course, but he's still very powerful and can come back to do what the Antichrist is prophesied to do in the Bible. He's fulfilled many of the prophecies already for the Antichrist, but not all of them. And we're in that time period now. So time is short for people to find out what the real truth is and what's going to happen. The whole place is going to get locked down. You're going to be curfew. It's going to be locked down. So when the time is right, you won't be able to move. It's going to be too late. You won't be able to leave your country because you know how the system works already. They develop some kind of crisis, terrorists and stuff like that. And it's not hard for them to lock down every airport and advocate where you're not going on no holidays or you're not travelling anymore because there's a war going on and it's got to be dealt with, and, you know, and you've got to have this chip if you want to go anywhere, because we need to really identify who these terrorists are and these people are. And you've got to, you know, so people are going to be forced into this. Some people are going to jump for it because they're going to be frightened and, you know, but people are going to force to have this mark because we believe the Bible to be true, and the Bible prophesies is that people will have this mark. And we believe as Rasta we're around that time now. And there's all the signs that the technology's there, the people are there, the time is right for them to put that on people very soon, you know. So they're making a way for that. They've already carved a way for it to come with money, cards, and they're getting rid of paper money and everything's going digital. And then it will go into a safer place where all your security or your passport, everything can be kept safe in a microchip where nobody will be linked to the head. So you can't just chop it off your hand. You know what I mean? And use someone's hand. You have to have the head as well. So yeah, that's the way, you know, hand and head tells you, you know. So the guy that invented the chip, Dr. Carl Sanders, I've actually put the video on YouTube if you want to check it out. 2 IONART, Zionart, but with a 2, like LionArt. And the video on there, Dr. Carl Sanders, he explains how he invented the microchip that the Antichrist will put into everybody. It fits in the hypodermic needle. Numbers add up to 666. All the attributes it has in the Bible about the mark of the beast go to this microchip that he invented. He fell on his knees, prayed to God, became a Christian and started to preach and tell everybody about this, what he invented. You know, so to warn people that it's coming in the future, you know. That video was on, I got that off PCRL many years ago. The radio station, the black radio station for the Midlands. They played it on there many years ago. But that's on YouTube, check it out, it's very interesting. You know, that explains what's coming to you. And once that comes, that sends you to hell, you see. No matter how good or bad or whatever you are, there's no saving from God, you see. That's the most important. So the people that are living on earth in that time when that comes, if you receive that mark, you go directly to that place that's called hell. You'll burn in fire with all the evilness.
Is that a physical thing, or is that on a spiritual level? This will somehow cut you off from.
It's both. It's both physical. It's an everlasting car. We believe, say, you're everlasting. Your life is forever. We live forever. We have a spiritual body. We have a physical body. The physical body can be resurrected into a new life. Yeah. And the spiritual body can live after, without the physical, you know. So there can be a time when you're separated from your physical. There'll be a time when you're resurrected into a new physical. There can be a time when possibly that's called hell, where you're resurrected into an everlasting physical and spiritual, but you're in fire for eternity, you know? And that's why you don't want to get that chip, because that's where that leads you to that place.
Bonds you to the material plane, doesn't it?
It changes your DNA. You become a non-human, so you're not savable. You get me? And these kind of things. It's not just the chip's different, man. I think you know, you got to be careful with the GM foods as well, because once you become non-human, you're not. You know, it's a different. Maybe your soul can be saved, but your physical's corrupted. Maybe that can be built again. You know, God can do many things, but this time's it's dangerous. It's, you know, but definitely the chip. It tells you in the Bible, or the mark of the beast is the one thing that will send you directly to hell. You know, no matter who you are, how good you've been, or whatever. But obviously, there's been lots of people that have lived up until now that haven't had the chip. It's those children that, in that time when the chip is actually forced is the key onto humanity. You know, many people, I'm not having no chip, yeah, but in every prisoner will have a chip. So when you refuse the chip and you get locked up and you get held down in a cell and chipped, like every other prisoner, you're going to get the chip, whether, don't matter how bad you think you are, do you know what I mean? You know, unless you try and run away, but you can't run away from the system. But that's where Rastafari has that place. And that's the message, do you know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yo, respect,
Lion,
brother.
Man.
Give thanks,
Yeah,
man. It's a pleasure, man.
Awesome,
It's a pleasure.
Man.
Enough love.
Thank you.
Selassie I bless.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.